What's up, y'all? Nice. All right, well, that was that beat. What's up, y'all? Hope everyone's doing well. Okay, let's play one more, and then we'll get into the stuff here. What else does J Immaculate have in his bag of tricks? What is this one? Oh, just listen to that. This one? Dang, that's a nice smooth fade out there. I like that sample. Trying to remember where I got this from. Oh wait, it's the, what you call it? It's definitely in mono mode. Probably got it from the Marlowe Dig sample pack. That guy's got super vibey Rhodes and other kinds of like instruments and stuff, so oh, definitely fun to mess around with. Okay, let's get started here. So we listened to some beats. I am going to get us started here on a brand new one. Brand new project, that is. We'll do number 12. It's fine. Save the current project. No. I already saved it. So yeah, we're got a special mission today, which you may have seen in the thumbnail. And it's that I'm trying to explore how this device can be compatible with this device. So this is the Lofi12XT, which is a sampler, sequencer, etc. Many of you are familiar with it because of all the videos that I make on it. The BlackBox, I do not make a lot of videos on. I've only made one video. It's actually quite popular for whatever reason. But yeah, I don't really use this thing that much anymore. I feel like I used to use it a lot, and then I got the Dirty Wave M8, and then I just left this thing in the box after that point because the M8's pretty cool. So yeah, I kind of want to break this thing out, see what we can do with it. And really my concept for today is to like try to use this Lofi12XT as a sequencer, and then use the BlackBox as kind of like a sound module sampler type deal, but not do any of the sequencing on the BlackBox. Just do the sequencing on the Lofi12. And the reason why is because the sequencer on this thing is like, it's not great. You have to use the touchscreen to kind of like manipulate the notes and stuff, and it can be very fiddly about when you're like clearing notes out and stuff. So it's really not the best experience, I would say. It's definitely not as streamlined as something like Koala Sampler, where you've got like a lot of control with the touchscreen and stuff. So yeah, this thing, not too great for the sequencer. But this is a great sequencer because it's got all these numbered buttons on it for the steps, and you can parameter lock, and well, I don't know if parameter lock's really going to matter if we're just launching sounds off this, but either way, we're going to be experimenting and seeing if this thing can trigger all the notes on this and make something really cool. So that way I don't have to deal with the headache, which is the sequencing here. All right, enough yapping. So let's go ahead and get some stuff plugged in here. So first things first, I got to do some audio configurizing. So I have to take the main out of ye old Lo-Fi. And I'm going to plug the Lofi12XT into the line in on the BlackBox. I don't think it's going to matter because I don't plan on really triggering any sounds from this. It's all going to be from this. It's just going to be MIDI. But just in case I decide to like sample something or whatever, it'll be good to have this plugged in to the line in. So that's what we're doing. All right, so line in is in. So that's step one. Next step is I need to, whoa, freaking camera. Focus. So yeah, next step is to do the MIDI, which I have MIDI cable here. So yeah, we've got 5-pin DIN it to win it. And then I've got this thing, which is like an adapter, which I believe came with the 1010 BlackBox. Yeah, you see it's branded 1010 Music. So yeah, this thing will go into the MIDI in here and then MIDI out here. You could also do this with USB. I'm using the USB for something else, the audio, so that you can hear it on the stream. But if you were at home and weren't streaming, you could use the USB cable from here, plug it into the Type A port on the back of the BlackBox, get it done that way. So you got many options. All right, let me plug this in here. Believe it's like this, MIDI out. And then we got to go to MIDI in, which, where is? Okay, so we got MIDI out, going to MIDI in. We're off to the races. The next thing I need to do is, oh yeah. So I also had this idea for doing some audio routing. So I've got this thing. It's a RCA with 1/4-inch adapters on it. And then this side is the 3.5mm. It's like the headphone jack. Now the interesting thing about the BlackBox is that it has multiple outputs, multiple stereo outputs. It has a headphone jack, which I think I'm actually gonna need to unplug. And then there's also 3 stereo outs, out 1, out 2, and out 3. So you can do some interesting audio routing stuff. And we're maybe gonna get into that, possibly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have this cable, I'm gonna plug this into out 3, and then I'm gonna have out 3 going into the Lofi12XT. And that way I can do some resampling without getting like a crazy feedback loop or whatever. So that's the plan there. I'll talk more about it once we get to that point. Okie dokie. I just gotta plug this in, L and R. I hear a little buzzing. What's up with that? All right, so I'm gonna unplug this, and then I gotta put this into, I guess right here. I know there's a lot of cables involved, so bear with me here. Yeah, so that should be good. I don't know, I do hear a little bit of like I don't know what that's all about though. Could be this thing maybe. How would I get that to shush? I don't know. We're gonna live with it for now. All right, so theoretically we've got some good stuff happening here. We've got MIDI out, going to MIDI in. We've got the audio 1 going to my mixer audio interface basically, so we can hear this. So let's test that. Samples. I like that snare. Okay, so we can definitely hear it, which is a good sign. I think I have to turn the monitoring off. Yeah, rec mon. No thank you. No way, mon. Alright. Still hearing some kind of noise, though. What's up with that? Maybe it's the ground noise? Ugh. Nasty. Well, it's pretty low, so we'll be fine. Alright, so that works. We can hear the sound. Oh yeah, let me mute this lo-fi. Alright, so does the MIDI work though? That's the question. And the way that you can control MIDI, there's like 2 ways to do it with the BlackBox. The first way is using MIDI channel 1, which basically allows you to trigger any of these 16 like pads. That's the way the Lofi12 or the BlackBox works, is you basically load samples to each of these cells, and you can slice those samples or play them chromatically. But yeah, there can only be 1 sample loaded to each cell is kind of the core limitation of this thing. So you only get 16 samples, which is not a problem if you're slicing and doing that kind of thing. So it's not going to be a big deal here. But yeah, so MIDI channel 1 basically, I think, allows you to control like any of these pads and just play them at the regular pitch. But then if you can change the MIDI channel of each individual one too, if you want to play it chromatically. So you could have certain cells be like, for instance, you go to config, say I want this one in the top right to be like MIDI channel 3 or whatever. So that's definitely something you can do. But yeah, right now I just want to make sure that channel 1 works. So let's just make sure that we're on channel 1. So yeah, track 1 is set to channel 1, which is how the Lofi12XT works. You can set a MIDI channel for each of these tracks, which is pretty cool. It's very flexible in that regard. And then now I go into pad mode. And you can see the BlackBox is doing something. I'm like queuing up sequences or something. I have no idea. It's not what I want to do though. I want to trigger the snare drum. So let me click around here. Well, there you go. Oh, and then you see when I'm pressing these, it's like triggering that pad. Oh wait, what did I do wrong here? So these are the top 4. This is not triggering it though. You have to go further back. Oh, that's confusing. It must think that this is 1 and then it's counting up, so this is like basically 13. Either way, so this works. And then check this out. So I can sequence on the Lofi12XT 2 snare drums, right? Bring the tempo down so it's not 120 beats per second there, or a minute I mean. So we'll do 89, and I press play on the Lofi12XT. Boom. It's playing the black box. So very simple. But yeah, obviously we'll get a little more complex once I get other drum sounds loaded, but that's kind of like the gist of it. Is channel 1 you can use to control basically any of the pads. And then yeah, once I get to like probably the sliced sample is when you'll see the chromatic mode work. But yeah, so that's a good sign there. So that's channel 1. Now, what else do I need to do here? Maybe I'll mess around with this envelope a little bit. Yeah, because the black box, it's pretty versatile when it comes to like editing parameters on the samples that you have loaded. You've got some pretty cool like ADSR type stuff that you can do. Yeah, attack, sustain, decay, release. And then yeah, you would have to control the start and end point here. So that's what these like flags are, is you can basically stop it like prematurely. And so that's activating the envelope. Once it passes that like purple line is when it's releasing or fading out or whatever. So that's the envelope. You've also got like pitch controls. I keep pressing stop on the black box. But yeah, so that's pretty standard fare. There's a filter too. This filter is a high pass, low pass, and it's nothing special really. I mean, it works well on like sample chops and like other kind of busy melodic samples, but it's not that great for like shaping individual sounds like the snare, but I'll show you what it sounds like. So yeah, once you go past the halfway point, it becomes a high pass filter. And then you can make it a low pass filter as well. So it's kind of like a DJ filter in that regard. High pass, low pass, that sort of deal. But yeah, it's interesting because it's not really as flexible as something like this, for instance, where you have access to like, you know, I don't know how many there are, maybe like 8 filters here, where you can control certain, you know, frequency and resonance and even do modulation on them. You can do modulation on these, but again, it's just that one low pass, high pass filter, so it's not very flexible in that regard. Okay, and then there's some other settings here too. You can like reverse samples and loop mode. I don't know if this can do like ping pong looping. Oh yeah, bidirectional. Nice. So that's that. But yeah, that's pretty basic stuff. So we'll get into more drums in a little bit, but let me load up the sample to see what we're working with here. All right, so this is what we got here. I'm gonna give this screen a quick wipe down. You know me, guys. I'm super OCD about this, even though I'm gonna have to like touch it a bunch anyways. Okay. But yeah, so the waveform display is actually pretty nice on this device. Like you can see, you do like pinch to zoom or whatever you call it when you go out. Because yeah, pinching would bring it out. Maybe it does go into. But yeah, so you can see like pretty detailed. You can zoom in pretty close too. Look at that. Hit that 0 point crossing. Hit that juicy 0 point crossing. And then zooming out too kind of makes it look like a big block. Kind of reminds me of the M8 display, to be honest. You can't change the color schemes or anything, but it's not a big deal. But yeah, and then so slice mode on this thing is interesting too, because you can lazy chop in a sense. In fact, I'll show that now. So yeah, you gotta go to slice mode, because normally it just plays like as a sample or whatever. So you go slicer, and then you press these dots, and then this split button is basically like the lazy chop button almost. I mean, you can do it when it's not playing and just drop markers in, but you can press play and then tap it as it's going to like add some markers in. So I'll show you that. And so this one I put on a little bit too late, so I want to push it back. And it gets a little bit clunky in this regard when it comes to editing the slices. Basically, you have to bring the cursor near where the slice marker is, and then you press the join button. So that's basically the way to delete the slice marker. And then you can pull it back and then add another one, split. So let's see if I got that right. Yeah, that's fine. Mess that up. Nice. So not too painless. There's a little bit of shuffling you have to do, because yeah, you'd think that you could turn these knobs and it would like move the slice marker back and forth, but it just doesn't work like that. You have to press the join button and then press the split button. So if anyone that works for BlackBox is watching out there, or 1010 I mean, should make it so you can turn the knobs and adjust the start and end points for these things. That'd be sick. Okay, so I've got some basic chops down, but as you can hear, there's a lot of well, actually, let me demonstrate another thing here, which would be going to config and changing the MIDI in, and we're going to make this number 2. So right now, this pad, which is pad number whatever, I guess it'd be 1, it's in the corner. So this corner one here is listening on channel 2 for MIDI notes. So I've got track 2 set up to be the channel 2 channel. Let me double check that. Yeah, channel 2, track 2. Okay. And so now when I press pad, so it's just playing the last slice, like the final slice. So I need to bring it back to the point where it's going to play the first one. Nice, so it seems like this is the first slice. This must be like C3 or something, or maybe C2. But yeah, now I can trigger the slices, so you'll see it play. Yeah, so we'll get groovy with it in a second. The other thing that I want to do though is adjust the attack to add a little bit of like a fade in for the sample, because the chops are not perfect and I don't feel like spending all day dialing these things in. So we're going to get lazy with it and do this. So you go to main, and then you add some attack. And so basically the way the parameters work is depending on what section you have selected. Like right now I have like the left 3 or left 4 selected. I have the right 4 selected. Once you have it selected, these 4 knobs will control those parameters. So I'll add some attack here. So yeah, all the pops magically go away when you put the attack on there. And it'll create sort of a sidechainy type effect depending on how exaggerated you make it. But that's a good tactic to use basically on any sampler really, if you don't want to really finesse the chops. Okay, so we've got that. And then something else I could do too is lower the pitch as well. You bring it down pretty low too, -24. Yo, Strill Life. What's up, man? How's it going? Okay, so yeah, that's the pitch. And then yeah, we could hit it with a filter too. Yeah, that'll be more useful once we get to the point where we want to shape the sound a bit more. So I'm just going to leave it at the default here, which is 0%. Dude, heck yeah, man. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I'm doing some interesting stuff with the 1010 BlackBox, which I don't use too much, so it's nice to get the dust off it and figure out what's what. Alright, so we got the sample chops sounding pretty alright. I'm not going to put anything in though, because I want to work on the rhythm section a little bit more. So let's find some other samples. We got the snare. So let's find kick drum, perhaps. It's a nice beefy kick drum. We're gonna take that. What the heck? Oh, it's got the it's probably got a loop point on it, this darn thing. Forward, no. You know how we do Strill Life. We got all the cool toys that are under a certain price point. Cause yeah, you don't see me messing around with no some of the more expensive gears, because those are pretty pricey. But I do like me a nice cheap groove box. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you're asking, were you running MIDI for the melody or did you sample it? Oh yeah, it's a sample. I'm doing both though. So it is a sample, but I'm using the MIDI to control it because basically the slice markers are over here. Yeah, the price point is real, that's for sure. These gear makers, they sometimes it's expensive. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so we got this kick drum here. I'm about to turn this boy up though. Info, main. Might be able to put a filter on it. Yo, Dello NP. Dude, what's up, man? Yeah, it was actually, it's funny because when you commented on that video that I made a while ago with the BlackBox, kind of got me thinking I wanted to test it out again to see what's what. So you inspired me to break it out, basically. So thank you. Oh yeah, dude, compact gear. I like when you can, yeah, put it in the pocket or near the pocket size. Put it in the backpack for sure. All right, so this sounds pretty chill. I am gonna mess around the envelope too. So I'm gonna bring this back. And so it's still doing the release, which I could edit independently as well. Not too bad. And so yeah, again, we're sequencing everything on the Lofi12XT, but all the sounds are on the BlackBox. So it's kind of like a sound module in that regard, except that we get a lot more control, maybe not more control, but there's just different control in the BlackBox. Because the Lofi12XT, this thing is mono. The highest sampling rate that you can record into it is like 24 kilohertz or 22 kilohertz or something like that. Whereas the BlackBox, it has like a lot more range in terms of like the sampling frequency. It's like more hi-fi. There's a stereo as well. So yeah, we can kind of like get the best of both worlds by using MIDI to connect them, because this thing is like a very superb sequencer, and this thing's sequencer is like kind of meh, I would say. But yeah, Strolife is saying, so in a situation like this, would you save a file on the BlackBox and one on the Lofi12XT? Yeah. So I'm laughing about it because the other night I was testing this out and I made this like super sick beat and I saved it on the Lofi12XT and then I was like, oh, all done. And I unplugged everything. And then I went to listen to it last night or this morning or whatever. And I didn't save anything on the BlackBox. I only saved it on the Lo-Fi, so there were no sounds. It was just a bunch of MIDI. It didn't do anything. I was like, oh man, that sucks. But Strolife's bringing up a good point in that if you're using multiple pieces of gear, you have to save projects on both of them. So it's not really ideal in that regard, unless you have a setup that's like static and you're not like constantly unplugging and replugging in. But yeah, if you're going to use different devices, you may end up with separate projects that need to be both loaded in order for the beat to come back, which is what I did not do on that beat I made. But we'll make another cool one, so it's all good. Okay, so yeah, I've got some sequence here. Got the kick drum and the snare. Let's see if we can find a hi-hat. Nice. So yeah, nothing like pitching a hi-hat down like a jillion semitones. This one's a -8. And it sounded just right. Okay, but yeah, Strolife is saying, oh yeah. So I kind of know where the audio files are, but the slice markers, like recreating that kind of stuff would be like really tricky. So I'll probably end up redoing it eventually because yeah, I do know like where the files are. So they're out there. But yeah, touchscreen's nice. This thing has a really good like kind of folder architecture, navigating through samples. Like it's very easy to load stuff up. It's kind of why I gravitated towards it initially, was because I wanted to use it as kind of like a sound library to record sounds in other devices. And the touchscreen makes it super easy to, yeah, pull stuff up. You can use the knobs to like kind of cycle through files and stuff. So the touchscreen is nice if you're into touchscreen type stuff. A lot of people just want to turn knobs and push buttons, but yeah, the touchscreen gives you some good options, I would say. All right. Okay, so this whole time I've been using this like kind of max velocity setting on the Lofi12XT. So if you go to the pad settings here, you can see that there's a way to, yeah, so you can change the velocity where like when you press the pad, you can make it either velocity sensitive or it can do a fixed velocity. So that's what I've been doing right now. Fixed velocity at 100. That way when I do the sample chops and the drums, it's like, you know, pretty easy or whatever. But what I'm going to do here is actually change it to actually be velocity sensitive. So right now I'll set it to linear, and this will make it so I can tap it a little bit lighter and get kind of a unique hi-hat. You know, it's not all just going to be like the same level, essentially. It'll be a little bit different. And then I'm also going to use a different track to record this, because right now I've got the kick and the snare, but it's a little busy. If I put hi-hats in here, it's going to be a little bit tough to manage the notes. Although right now it's simple because these are the snares and the kicks are like not on the 5 and the 13, or step 5 and step 13. So let's do track 3, system, MIDI, track, and this one I'm going to do on 1 as well. So just like this one, it's going to be sending notes on 1, except here I'm just going to use it for the hi-hat. Except here, there we go. I just had to bring it down an octave. So yeah, now I can just do the hi-hat entirely on this track and just focus on that. Nice. And so yeah, I've just got the MIDI on the Lofi12XT, and we're getting some pretty easy to manipulate notes. You know, I can just check the parameter locked values and stuff and adjust things like velocity, micro timing, or whatever. All very tactile interface, which this thing, you're kind of like doing the touchscreen stuff, which can be a little tricky, like I mentioned. But yeah, Strolife saying, I'm surprised you haven't put some knobs on the Lofi12XT. That's all good, man. Yeah, these knobs are like really not great. I do need to buy some of those. I feel like people use ones called like thonk knobs or something. I'm gonna have to look it up, because yeah, I'm kind of at my wit's end with these things. But I don't know, if you put something on top of it, isn't it still gonna be kind of like crappy, I guess? I don't know. The way it jumps around in values is super annoying. Like you can turn this and it's just like, it'll kind of like move slowly and then zip back. Like I don't even know how to describe this behavior. It's all it does is test my patience, really. Kind of reminds me of like pocket operator knobs. You know how it's like kind of the values are like super crazy, and then you kind of just have to finesse it. So yeah, I'm gonna look into getting different knobs, but for now, kind of just living with these, I guess. All right, so let's go ahead and try playing some sample chops in. Oh, hold on a sec. So like I was saying earlier, I turned the velocity sensitivity off so that I could do the hi-hats. Now I want to turn, or I turned it on, I mean. Now I want to turn it back off. So you got to go to pad, and then switch this. I'm going to make it 100. Because yeah, I want the sample slices to all be the same volume. Don't need any expressive performance in that regard. I have to fix these chops up, but this is definitely the part I want to work with. It's like that kind of up and down type, what you call it, playing of the boards there. So let me see if I can record this in. Maybe I can just get lucky on it. Oh man. Let me check this out though. So Strillife's saying, nah, I got some screw-on knobs. You can still use the press down. It's hard to explain, but since they are wider, you don't have to crank them as much. Oh, all right. Yeah, finger cramps are definitely a thing when it comes to these pinching these little guys. Dang man, yeah, and you're using the is it the thonk knobs? Am I remembering that right, or am I just making that up? Because yeah, if you know what they're called, I'll definitely look them up. I bet they're cheap too, so I'm definitely down to check them out. You want to talk about some satisfying knobs though, these things, dude. These encoder knobs or potentiometer, whatever it's called, these things are freaking smooth. Smooth like butter. So BlackBox did a good one there, or 1010 Music, I mean. But yeah, I'll check them out. cheap ones from Amazon. I'll look it up because yeah, even cheap ones from Amazon is probably better than this thing. But yeah, so that is kind of grooving. We're gonna keep this pattern. Let me save this thing so I don't freaking lose it. We're gonna save it on both. So I saved it on this, and then to save on the BlackBox, you have to go to Preset, Save, Kaboom. And the project we're working on today is called New Preset. So it's a name I came up with especially for this one. All right, so we've got kick, snare, sample chops, hi-hat. Maybe we could do some bass. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Something like that. I'm kind of down with this one. Or I don't know, maybe it sounds a little rough around the edges. But we get that low pass filter on it. Boy. All right, and then same deal as before, I gotta go config and then check the MIDI settings here. MIDI in. We're on track 4, so we're gonna do MIDI 4. And then I'm gonna set it to gate too. Right now it's playing the whole thing. I mean, it's a pretty short sample, but still just change it to gate mode. Oh yeah, Still Life. Yeah, dude, send it on, yeah, you can DM me on IG. I check it. I check my DMs. So yeah, just hit me up there. And I should be able to find it too, but yeah, if you have a link, that would make it even easier. I appreciate it. All right, and then let me mess around with the envelope a little bit here. Where are we at? Something like that. All right, so we don't want it to get too busy, but we are going to take advantage of the power of the Lofi12XT by doing some, I forget what it's called. It's not probability. I think it'd be called a conditional trig, maybe. But basically, I want this note to play every other... Oh man, you know, I actually can't do that. Let me see if I can figure this out. Because there is probability on this thing for sure. On the CFG page, you've got this dice setting. And basically I want this high note here. I want it to play like every other time. Damn, I don't even think I can do that. Because right now I could parameter lock this to be 50%. So that would play every other time, sort of. But it wouldn't be like a consistent, like, truly every other time. So it skipped it there. Skipped it there. You know, maybe 50% works. Nice. So yeah, this one is basically just comes in every now and then, 50% of the time, which is a probability thing. And I'm okay with that. I think it sounds chill. All right, so let's save again, because why not? All right, so we got bass, got a basic melody. Maybe I could do some more percussion stuff. All right, so we've got enough sounds in the mix here to kind of start doing some more sound design. Now, one of the things that the BlackBox has that's pretty cool is like a compressor. So it's got this master compressor, I guess you'd call it, which just affects the entire mix. And you can access it by going to the Tools button, and then going down here to Compressor. Oh, it's already on. I was going to say, let's turn it on and see what it sounds like, but apparently I accidentally left it on. Let's hear what it sounds like with it off, so we can do like an A-B comparison. Dang, bro. It's like hella louder. Very interesting. So yeah, it kind of like brings the levels down a bit, but it does kind of glue things. I don't think there are any settings you can adjust on it though. It's just on or off, which is kind of unusual. You'd think you could do like ratio and, you know, whatever else. Sidechain would be nice too, but it does not support that either. So, okay, there's the compressor. It's already on. So yeah, maybe I could do some more like kick drum stuff here. Whoops. Actually went to card reader mode there. Yeah, so we're still at 100 velocity. Just trying to see if I was maybe bringing the notes in a little low. Alright, so not bad. We gotta add some more layers though. We got plenty of free slots here. Alright, kind of vibing with this, whatever sample this is. Some kind of Moog something or other. So we're going to get the sequence punched in here. And then, oh, Strolife saying I found the knobs, sent a quick video in Amazon. Dude, my man. That's a great example of the community. Sharing the knowledge, uplifting each other. I'm going to check those out, dude. Because, yeah, I'm definitely ready for a new experience when it comes to these knobs here. Let me tell you. Alright, so let me get something recorded in here. We got to do our old song and dance, which is go to config, change the trigger, or maybe I'll do gate. Gate would let me let off it, but I don't think that's necessary. So we're going to do trigger and then MIDI in. What channel are we on? Track 5. So I want to do channel 5 for no good reason. And then change this to loop mode so it's not looping. Alright, now I should be able to play it. Get a little lower in the mix there. know I was complaining about the filter on this thing earlier, but it does sound very nice when you're doing when you're running melodic stuff through it and kind of tweaking the knob or whatever. But yeah, not great for sound design and sound shaping, I don't think, like this thing is a little more versatile. So, but I do want to kind of like get this filter suite baked into the sample, and there's not a way to motion record to my knowledge, or maybe there is actually, I need to look into it. But the whole point of this is that I'm using the Lofi12XT to sequence all the sounds, so that wouldn't even matter anyways. So what I'm going to do instead is use a LFO, which 1010 Music has blessed us with the power of LFO, so we can do that. So basically, to target modulation, you just have to select, I think you select the parameter. So I'm picking filter, right? And then I press info, and it says mod filter, so it's good. And then here I'm going to change the source of the modulation to the LFO. And then you can do the amount too. Whoops, just turn this knob. So now, the LFO is like really slow or something. So yeah, I'll just set this to like 60 or whatever. And then now I can go back, go to the LFO page. Oh yeah, the depth was at 100. So bring the depth down. Alright, so I do kind of want it to sustain for longer. Not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. Maybe I can set a loop point, perhaps. Oh man, this is going to get tricky. Let's see if I can survive this. But yeah, Strolife saying makes the experience 100 times better. Had to scavenge half of the knobs from my sample track. Dang. Had to vampire it, steal the essence from it. It's not a bad idea. I'm going to definitely pick up some of those so I don't have to, dink around with these too much longer. Would be nice. Okay, so yeah, loop mode is the solution here to make it sustain longer, I think. So let me set that up. So we gotta set play to, I guess we'll do bidirectional. So that's gonna be ping pong looping instead of it being, one direction, so to speak. All right. And so now once I've changed the loop mode, you'll see that there's two kind of sets of flags. So there's the purple ones on the outside, which are the true start and end to the sample. And then the white ones are the loop points. And so from here, I think I can, basically, well, let me do this. I'm going to set it to, instead of trigger, I'm going to set it to gate. And so what that's going to do is I can keep holding it down and it'll basically play through the ping pong. It might sustain infinitely, unless I let go of it. Let's find out. I dig that, yo. So that's actually, I think, going to be perfect. Let me clear these notes out. Yeah, so now I just have to play it. And if I hold the button down, it should just go through all the way. Not the correct note. Alright, but I do want the release to be a little bit different. in that I want it to like kind of stay loud and drop off slower. Hopefully I said that right. So I think I could increase the decay. Or maybe the release. Some combination of the two. Oh, nice. Nice and cheap. $10. Depending on the color. Dude, I'm gonna have to pick some colors. Figure out what goes good with this. Maybe red, perhaps. Okay, so I think I got this right. So let me record this in. I screwed that up. All right, and so the notes are cutting each other off because I have to do one other thing in the config. So by default, everything's going to be in mono mode on the BlackBox. So we're going to change this to poly. I mean, I don't need to play more than 2 notes at once, so I can just do poly 2. Whoops. So yeah, you can see they kind of like fade into each other now as opposed to just like cutting each other off like what they were doing before. Might be cool to modulate the pan too, to just kind of give it a little more stereo space, I guess. So let me try doing that. So there's a pan parameter. Press info. You can create a source for the modulation. Doesn't seem like it's doing anything though. Alright, so that is one of the limitations though, is that it seems like I'm only able to use one LFO per whatever sample, I guess. So right now I have the LFO configured to do the filter sweep in the way that I wanted, but now I just have to like kind of apply that to the pan and like hope that it works out. So it would be nice to have more LFOs. Maybe there are more and I haven't updated the device. Who knows? So yeah, it's panning a little bit. It's like a little more on the left, maybe. So it is doing something, which is good news. All right, enough obsessing over this. How does it sound with the sample chops back in? Okay, getting a little ping pong. That is the intended behavior. What else we got? Alright, so I got an idea for the shaker. I gotta chop it though. Enter slice mode here. Or maybe I could do like grid slicing or something. We'll see. But yeah, Still Life saying the BlackBox sounds good in the headphones. Dude, that's what's up. Yeah, this thing is hi-fi. I don't know exactly what the sample rate and frequency is, but it's definitely a cut above the Lofi12XT, which is kind of marketing itself as being a little bit more lo-fi, obviously. But yeah, the BlackBox, pristine. Although, yeah, you don't really have a lot of sound design options here. You get that clean audio, and then you can maybe hit it with the filter, but there's not like it's not like the Roland P6 or something where you can sample at different frequencies or whatever. You're kind of just stuck with what you got, but it sounds good. Okay, so yeah, so to slice by grid, you press these dots here, do the, oh, whoops. Yeah, just press the grid button. And basically what this is doing, it's kind of like a slice by region. It's just going to do equal slice points across the sample. So let me see what like 4 sounds like, I guess. Or maybe I could do more. Try 6. Yeah, it's pretty good, but I got to move some of these around. So we're going to do join to delete it, split to add a new one. And fortunately, we can just use the transients to kind of guide us here. Split, join. All right, that should be fine. And then for this, oh man, I'm going to have to burn a whole, track to sequence this. Not too bad though, I guess. So yeah, let me do, yeah, you know what, now that I think about it, it would be kind of wasteful to have an entire track just to sequence this. Let me see what I can play on it though. So we're going to set it to track number 6. I'm gonna add a couple extra slice markers to give it a little more of a micro chop kind of deal here. then I'll turn velocity sensitivity back on. All right, so we got a nice little shaker sequence here, but I'm gonna try adding some effects to it. So the 1010 BlackBox, it doesn't have too many built-in effects. In fact, it's very limited in that regard. Definitely not like SP404 or like this thing, for instance, which has all the insert effects. The only effects you have on this page are delay and reverb. And I think delay would sound pretty good on this sample, so let's try that out. So we're gonna select the perk, which is the shaker. And then I can turn this knob to kind of crank the delay. It's like, I don't even know what this is going to sound like. Doesn't sound like it's having a very strong effect. Must be doing something wrong here. Alright, I can hear that. Dude, heck yeah. Appreciate that, Stroll Life. Making the walk go by faster, that's what's up. You gotta sample nature, bro. That's you can get some interesting sounds. Bring that field recorder with you. Alright, I think this is good, so let me press play here. Alright, so I did something a little goofy here, and basically I set the probability of every note on this track to be 80%. So it doesn't quite play every single shaker slice that I sequenced. However, because I'm using the delay, and I've got it cranked to a pretty decent amount, when there's a skip of the note, basically it'll kind of like, the delay will sort of keep the shaker sound active in a sense. It'll be a little bit quieter, but it can create, yeah, these kind of like interesting pockets basically as it plays through, which are randomized because it's basically a 1 in 5 chance for it to not play the note, 80%. So yeah, it's kind of creating like an interesting groove or rhythm essentially. What else we got though? got something interesting here with this vibraphone. I'm gonna make it work. Gosh darn it. Yeah, the snare stutter is kind of interesting. I feel like normally I'm just putting the snare on the, whatever, the 2 and the 4, but decided to switch it up here. Evolving, becoming different. And then yeah, Strolife saying, do you have all the same samples loaded on the BlackBox and M8? Dude, it's so funny that you asked that, because yeah, literally what I did was I popped the SD card out of my M8 and I just put it into this. So it's got a SD card on the bottom that you can put in. So yeah, it's literally the same. Like even if I go to load a sample, for instance, you can see that it says like bundles, songs. This is all just M8 stuff. Like you wouldn't even be able to do anything with it. So yeah, it's just yeah, pretty much hot swappable, I guess you could say. Which is great for devices that have SD card slots because you can literally just plug and play, which is pretty cool. But yo, Wurzel, dude, what's up, man? How's it going? How's it hanging? But yeah, let me see. What was I trying to do here? Oh yeah, so this thing. Let me get a MIDI. Or you know what? I could just control it with channel 1. Or no, I want to play it chromatically. Okay, so info, config, MIDI in, set it to channel. Dude, what channel am I on? 7. Oh, and then I have to do the pad settings. Dude, I wish I had a macro for this. Just press one button and it changes it. Get it to 100. Yeah, exactly. Very familiar folder architecture, which is quite nice. Nice. Wow, that really ping pongs around. Let me bring this release down a little bit so it's not like going crazy. Nice. All right, so that vibraphone sounded pretty chill. Then Strolife saying, I thought I'd be able to do that with my sample track SD, but since you have to downsample everything... Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Because yeah, the sample track probably has a much higher sampling frequency. That's the thing about the internal storage on this, and that's probably why you see me using a bunch of other devices to record sounds into it, because converting my sample library into that proper kilohertz or whatever is like, dude, it's gonna take forever. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah, I feel like if I was in your shoes, I would probably just record stuff off of the sample track, just like directly into it, which is not an ideal solution, but that's the way you got to do it sometimes, depending on how much time you got. Okay, so I got one last track here. Not really sure what to do with it. Like a piano might sound sick. Or maybe like a guitar. Maybe a rhythm guitar? I don't know. Sounds kind of interesting. Let's see if I can play some cool notes here. I got to change it to MIDI channel 8, which is the last channel available. I'm hearing it more in the right channel here, so let me adjust the pan as well. It's the charm of this sample collection that I have. Okay. Bring it more center. All right, now, not really sure what I want to play here. Pretty simple pattern. Yeah, switch the harmony melody to 32 steps. Let me see. All right, so do we got 16 on that? I don't even know. This one's 32. This one's 64. Yeah, so the guitar is what I could do 32 on. Gotcha. Oh, I see what you mean. I could do a little bit of variety on this thing though. I'm gonna double it, make it 64. Or actually, hold on a second. Before I do that, let's save, right? And yeah, I'm gonna make it 64. I'm gonna try and play something a little bit different in the second half. Yikes. I'm always receptive to new ideas. Strolife is helping me make this even better, so it's all good. We're learning together. But yeah, TD, to answer your question, we are cooking. We're cooking with gas. So welcome. Welcome to the kitchen. All right, so I switched it up a little bit. I think Stroh Life is on to something there, but it does not solve our problem with this guitar melody though. I feel like I gotta jazz this up a little bit. Try putting some delay on it. All right, so I think I got the guitar kind of where I want it. It's a little low in the mix too, so it's not going to be something that you're super drawn to. So I think it's okay if it's a little bit repetitive. But we were talking about this earlier. I want to show everyone what this is all about, and that is making sure that you're saving on both devices. So since I'm using the Lofi12XT for the sequencer, I have to save the Lofi12XT pattern. You also have to save the project, so I'm going to do that. And while that's going, I also need to save the BlackBox stuff. So to do that, you go preset, save, kaboom. So look at that, I did both. Because yeah, the other day I saved the Lofi 12 part of it, but not the BlackBox part of it, and I kind of screwed up. So now we got both saved, and if I wanted to recall the project, I would just need to, yeah, load up this pattern, load up this project, I guess what's called on the BlackBox, they're called presets. Basically, it's a collection of samples and sequence data, so it's basically a project. So I'd have to load that up, load this one up, and then boom, we can play this beat. I forgot that I can do the mute outs on the BlackBox as well. Because it's kind of confusing, like, I'm pressing the mute button on the Lofi12XT, but there's like nothing lit up on the pads, so it's kind of hard to associate like what the sounds are with what these blank pads are essentially. But I forgot that on the BlackBox there's this mute, or it's the mix screen, which you can use to mute and unmute certain samples. So it's kind of an easier way to go about it, I think. Nice. Yeah, Astrolife's saying, it's confusing me too. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. They're not lit up. It's the illusion that I'm doing nothing here. Even though y'all saw me make this cool beat. Okay. So yeah, that was just a little experiment there. Let me unmute everything and save again, as we are wont to do. Didn't even make any changes, but I'm still saving because that's how we do things. All right, so that was BlackBox Lofi12XT. What are we at here? Just about 2 hours. You know, I think I might call it at this one. Normally I'll make another beat, but getting a little hungry over here. Hangry, almost. So yeah, I'll I think I'm gonna sign off at this point. But yeah, appreciate y'all rocking with me. Thanks for sticking around. And yeah, probably gonna be doing more videos with BlackBox, so if you're interested in that, keep an eye out for those. But yeah, again, thanks for rocking out with me, and until next time, peace.